out what Teams is doing, but I went through 2 classes this morning and I didn't have any problems. So, okay, here's one. Let's see, I didn't turn off my video cam, but it's off. So
it says you're recording now, though.
Yeah, I wasn't able to record this morning. 2 classes, I wasn't able to record, and I couldn't share my screen, and I couldn't do my video. Now I just can't do my video. I'm glad, Ms. Reynolds. Thank you for sending me that email, because that makes a lot of sense. That's why I couldn't do what I needed to do this morning. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to write these individually. It says drag one of the values given into the appropriate area to match the expressions below. One of them is tangent of 15 degrees. And it's got 6 choices. But tangent of 15 degrees, that's going to be the tangent of what? 60 degrees minus 45?
Mm-hmm.
All right, take off from there. That's going to be your sum and difference. So that's going to be tan tan, 1 plus tan tan. So that's equal tan of 60 minus the tan of 45 over 1 plus the tan tan. Tan of 60 times the tan of 45. All right, go ahead and work that out. I'm just going to work these because I got 2 questions from y'all, and if I do both of them, that's going to be like 2 times 6. That's like 12 questions. So the tan of 60, that's like the square root of 3 minus 1 over 1 plus the square root of 3 times 1, which that's equal to the square root of 3 minus 1 over 1 plus the square root of 3. And you could say the square root of 3 minus 1 over the square root of 3 plus 1. I'm going to do the conjugate, because if they've already got an answer for you, and chances are, and you got to match it, chances are you got to simplify it. So the square root of 3 minus 1 over the square root of 3 plus 1. I'm going to multiply by the conjugate. Square root of 3 minus 1, square root of 3 minus 1. And that's going to give us shortcut number 2 on the top and shortcut number 3 on the bottom. Now I'm going to put a baby step in here for y'all. Equals square root of 3 minus 1 times square root of 3 minus 1 over the square root of 3 squared minus 1 squared. Shortcut number 3, shortcut number 2. This is the square root of 3 minus 1 quantity squared. And we're going to do this in just a minute, or you can use your FOIL. So that's going to be the square root of 3 quantity squared minus 2 square root of 3 times 1 plus 1 quantity squared over 3 cancels that. That's 3. 1 squared is 3 minus 1. That cancels there, so that's 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 minus 2, square root of 3 over 2. And you can factor out a 2, and the 2's will cancel. 2 minus square root of 3, that's what I got. And your answer is 2 minus square root of 3. Now, I do not like this question. I'll show you what this question looks like. I think it's this one right here. It's one like this one. It's close. We're going to do both of them. See here, I don't like the way this question, I don't like to give this as a test question, but each one of these are what? Good test questions. So this is not a test question, but each one of these are good test questions. So let's just say we're doing, that's why I don't like to pull this up, because that right there is intimidating. So what I'm doing is I'm doing it individually. So you can say, oh, okay, it's not that hard. It's not that difficult. Okay, so we'll do that one in just a minute, or one like it. All right, now the next one. Let's do the let me find it. The sine of 3 pi. Can't read. Sine of 3 pi over 8. Sine of 3 pi over 8. I'll write it down. Sine of 3 pi over 8. We can actually, let's go to our handy dandy. Let me pull up, I think I sent it to y'all. The Trig Identities. Let's see, where are the Trig Identities?
The green sheet.
Yeah, is that Trig Identity cheat?
The laws and identities, yeah.
Okay.
Priority 1 message coming in on secured channel.
That half angle identities. Now we haven't covered those, but they're right here. Hold on a second. Right there. Write those 3 down right there, because this one is half angle, and it's the sine of 3 pi over 8. So go ahead and write that. Write those 3 down right there. I'll blow it up for you if I can. Let's see. And y'all should have this, but I guarantee you some of y'all didn't print it out. That's a lot of work. I know. So if we square this, okay, the sine of theta over 2 is equal to positive or negative square root of 1 minus cosine theta over 2. We could actually square both of these. This is the way some people do it. You could square both of these and get rid of the radical. And some people do it like that, and that's fine. So sine of, what do we got? 3 pi over 8. If I square that, and I'm going to put a square right here. If I square that term like that, then I can get rid of that. So, and it's not going to change anything really, because you're getting rid of, you're adding something, but you're getting rid of this. Now, you could leave this as sine theta, but you got to keep the radical. So either way, I don't care which way you do it, the answer is going to come out the same. And that's going to equal, instead of the radical, 1 minus cosine theta over 2. So I just want to make sure you understand that you can actually square both sides to get rid of the radical if you want to do that. So we come out with sine squared of 3 pi is equal to 1 minus cosine theta. And we're going to put 3 pi over 4 there. And the reason is, and we're going to get to that in just a second, because we got to make this fit. We got to make this fit over here. And this is not 3 pi over 2. We got to make this like 3 pi over 2. So we're going to have to multiply by 2 right there. And we're going to do that up here to make it fit. So sine squared of 3 pi over 8 is equal to 1 minus the cosine of 2 times 3 pi over 8. And all that's over 2. And that's going to give us sine squared of 3 pi over 8 is equal to 1 minus cosine 3 pi over 4. There we go, over 2. And now just find the cosine of 3 pi over 4. Well, 3 pi over 4, what is 3 pi over 4? 3 pi over 4 is what? 180 over pi. Should be 45. What? 45 times 3 is what? 135?
135.
Y'all check me. Is it 135?
Yes.
$135, so that means it's 45-degree angle, but it's on the second quadrant. So that means all students take what? Calculus. All students, this is the sign, so we know it's going to be positive, or negative. All students take, so the cosine, Oscar had a hunk, so that's going to be 3 pi and 4. I'm sorry, I'll just shut up. 45 is 1 square root of 2, and that's going to be a negative 1. And we want the cosine, so the cosine is adjacent over what? Oscar had a hunk, so that's going to be negative 1 over square root of 2, which is square root of 2 over 2. So that's 1 minus square root of 2 over 2 negative over 2. And that's going to be 1 plus square root of 2 over 2 over 2. 1 plus square root of 2 over 2 over 2. And the only thing that they might do, they could make that into a 4 and make that into a 2. But I don't think they're going to do that. You're probably going to get the square root of, let's see, you could change this into 2. I'm running out of room here. Let me just go to the next page. 1 plus the square root of 2 over 2. And that's going to be over, let's see, 1 plus the square root of 2 over 2. I'm thinking of how they simplify this, because they're going to simplify it some funky way over 2. I could multiply through by 2 over 2, which is a common denominator. And that would be 2 plus this, 4 plus the square root of 2 over 4. And then when I go back and remember the square root that I put in there, sine squared of 3 pi over 8 is equal to 4 plus the square root of 2 over 4. And I take the square root of everything. Then that's going to give me sine of 3 pi over 8 is equal to, and the answer will be the square root of, let's see, that's going to be, no, that's not a 4, that's a 2. I'm sorry. 2 over 2. And it should come out to be square root of 2 plus square root of 2 over 2. That should be your answer, because you take the square root of 4 here, and that comes out to be 2. And of course, that one, we didn't go over that a lot, so I want you to go back to this sheet right here. Where's my team sheet? There we go. Make sure you write those 3 down right there. I believe that's where we ended. I don't remember how far we got. I believe that's 10.3 right there. All right, let's do another one. Let's do a tangent. Tangent of negative pi over 8. Tangent of negative pi over 8. All right, try that one. Now, remember what I told you about identities. Identities are not going to hit you like a brick. You don't do identities every day, and some of you have never done identities. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So I don't want you to think, if you don't learn them the first time you look at them, that you're going to not learn them at all. It's going to take some time. Now, Miss Hernandez, I didn't see those pigtails before class. You must have just did that.
They were in buns, but I don't know.
Okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy. Well, I thought I was crazy yesterday. I called my daughter, and I couldn't find $200. I had 2 $100 bills in my billfold, and I couldn't find them. And I went to the store, with two $100 bills I thought were in my billfold. So I called my daughter and I said, that $100 I gave you last night, was there two 100 bills, two 100? Yeah, I thought that was my grocery money. I thought so I went and bought groceries. Yeah. So, you know, I wanted to, Ms. Hernandez, I thought I was crazy yesterday. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy today. All right. Now I can turn this tangent of negative theta, I can turn it into the negative tangent of pi over 8. That makes a lot of difference, and you can do that by using this right here. That's why you've got to have this green sheet with you. You've got to have it. Unless you just memorize all of them. And if you memorize all of them, more power to you. Now, does anybody know what I'm going to do next? Anybody think of what I'm going to do next? I'm going to change that. What is your rule? Always try to get these into terms of what?
Sine and cosine.
So that's going to be negative parentheses sine of pi over 8 over cosine of pi over 8. And now you've got the half angles. So go ahead and work the half angles out there. So that's going to be negative square root over square root, and that's going to be 1 minus cosine of pi over 4. And this is going to be 1 plus the cosine of pi over 4. Pi over 4, you multiply this by 2, you get pi over 4. Now, crank out the pi over 4, you know what that is. 180 over pi, that's 45 degrees. So the cosine is 1, let's see, 1 square root of 2. Oscar had a hunk. That'd be 1 over the square root of 2, which is square root of 2 over 2. So that's going to equal negative parentheses 1 minus square root of 2 over 2 over square root of 1 plus the square root of 2 over 2. Now you can multiply this through by 2 and this through by 2, and you get 2 minus square root of 2 over 2 plus square root of 2. You could do that. Or you could have left the square root of 2 on the bottom and multiplied by, I might want to do that. But you could either do this. You could either leave this square root of 2 right here, leave that there, and then that would be the square root of the square root of 2 minus 2 over the square root of 2 plus 2. Now that's one way to go. The other way to go is to multiply by 2, and you get the square root of 2 minus the square root of 2 over the square root of 2 plus the square root of 2. Basically, you get the same thing. I'm going to go this route because that way I got rid of the radical. I'm going to go this route. And I forgot, that's the square root. Don't forget, you got to take the square root of that. So this is messy. So if I take the conjugate, and that's going to be the square root of 2 minus 2. I mean, that's going to be the square root of 2 minus 1. Hold on just a second. What's the cosine of pi over 4? Let me make sure I didn't mess up here. Cosine of pi over 4 is 1 square root of 2. 1 over the square root of 2. Okay. Okay, hold on just a second. I may have messed up. Let me go back right here. Negative parentheses square root 1 minus cosine of pi over 4 over the square root of 1 plus the cosine of pi over 4. 1 square root of 2. Oscar had a hump 1 over square root of 2. I'm going to leave that. Okay, so that's going to be negative the square root of 1 minus 1 over the square root of 2 over the square root of 1 plus 1 over the square root of 2. I'm going to leave that square root of 2 there because I want to multiply through by 2 to get rid of the rational, the 1 over square root of 2. And I don't want to put the square root of 2 over 2. I don't want to rationalize it that way. So I multiply through by the square root of 2 over the, yeah. So I'm going to multiply the inside right here by the square root of 2. Now, I could have done that with just this, and then it would have been the square root of 2 over 2. But I'm going to do it with both. And that's going to leave us with a little bit more simplified. I mean, you don't have to do this. That'd be the square root of 2 minus 1 over the square root of 2 plus 1. That's better. Now, multiply through by the conjugate on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to take the pink marker, and I'm going to multiply through by the square root of, the square root of 2 minus 1. Square root of 2 minus 1 over the square root of 2 minus 1. And that's supposed to be the square. I got too many radicals. These radicals are messing me up. You can just put one big radical. We'll put the one big radical. Okay, so the square root of 2 minus 1, the square root of 2 plus 1, all that's on one big radical. All right. So this is square root of 2 minus 1, square root of 2 minus 1. That is 2 minus 2 square root of 2 plus 1 over, and I'm probably getting the cart before the horse, square root of 2 squared is 2 minus 1 squared is 1. And I know I probably went too far. Yeah, they didn't do that. I can tell by the way their answer is they don't have a quadratic. So they're not doing that. What they're doing is looking at their answer, negative. That's going to be square root of 2 minus 1 quantity squared over 2 minus 1, which we had that. They just didn't want the quadratic. And the square root of 2 minus 1 quantity squared, take the square root, and that cancels. And you're left with negative square root of 2 minus 1. Negative square root of 2 minus 1. And you can distribute that and make it 1 minus the square root of 2, but I really don't care at that point. These are yucky, yucky problems. So you're just going to have to bear with it. You're going to have to keep trying. All right, let's do another one. Say again.
Can you move over the paper a bit?
Can I do what now?
Can you move the paper over a bit? Thank you.
Okay. Got it?
Yep, I got it.
I'm looking at the next one. Yeah. The next one is kind of like the one we did a while ago. I can't remember what it was, but this one is tangent of 3 pi over 8. Tan of 3 pi over 8. So we're going to have to use the tan. So 3 pi over 8 divided by 2 multiplied by, let's see, 2 over 1 multiplied by 1 over 2 No, that's not right. Theta, that's going to be 3 pi over 4. Okay, so theta is equal to 3 pi over 4 because of the half angle. Yeah. So sine of cosine, sine of 3 pi over 4 is going to be equal, the sine of 3 pi over 4 is equal to 1 over the square root of 2, and the cosine of 3 pi over 4 is equal to 1 over the square root of 2 negative. Therefore, you can rewrite the tangent, which is tangent of 3 pi over 8. Tangent of 3 pi over 8 is equal to 1 minus cosine over the sine, which is 1 minus a negative 1 over square root of 2 over 1 over square root of 2. And now you just do your math. So that's going to be 1 plus, I get a common denominator. So I'm going to go down here. So that's going to be square root of 2 over 2. I'm sorry. Square root of 2 over the square root of 2 plus 1 over the square root of 2 over 1 over the square root of 2. And square root of 2 over 1 multiplied by square root of 2 over square root of 2 plus 1 over the square root of 2. And square root of 2 plus 1 is square root of 2 plus 1. So that would be square root of 2 over 1 multiplied by the square root of 2 plus 1 over the square root of 2. And the square root of 2's cancel. And I'm left with the square root of 2 plus 1. And that should be your answer, I hope. And the last one on this question, I think, at least the one they sent me, the cosine of 67.5 degrees. The cosine of 67.5 degrees. I'll leave that up there for a second. And let me put the answer in red. Square root of 2 plus 1 is your answer. Got it?
Got it.
Now you actually can do this one same way. What is 67.5 times 2?
135.
I'm sorry, what?
135.
135. So this is basically the cosine of 135 over 2. The cosine of 135 over 2. So I'm going to give you that hint. They want to know the cosine of, make sure I write it down right, cosine of 67.5. Well, 67.5 times 2, which is the opposite of dividing by 2, is 135. So use that to help you start this problem. Now, all students take calculus. 135 is in the second, so the negative, the cosine is going to be negative. So you can either do a plus symbol and do a negative, or you can just go ahead and make it negative. I don't care which way you do it. All right. The half angle identity says the cosine of theta over 2 is equal to positive or negative square root of 1 plus the cosine of theta over 2. Now we know theta is 45 degrees, it's 315. But since it is in the second quadrant, I'm sorry, what did I say? 315, I'm sorry, what did I say? 135. Since 135 is in the second quadrant, we know the cosine is going to be negative. So I'm just going to call this negative, 45 degrees, or 45 degrees, and put a minus symbol right here. So I'm going to say cosine of theta 135 over 2 is equal to positive or negative the square root of 1 minus cosine of 45, because we know it's going to be negative, over 2.
Can you show us the paper?
I'm sorry, what?
Can you show us the paper?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And since I did that, since I made this cosine of 135, that 2 is going to go out. So it's just going to be this. Okay? Because if I multiply this whole thing by 2, then this 2 goes out right here, and the 2 goes out right here. So I'm just going to say cosine of 135 is equal to positive or negative the square root of 1 minus, and the cosine of 45 comes out to be what? 1 over the square root of 2. And now you can finish it. So I'm going to let y'all finish this. And once you change 135, that becomes, 135. Actually, this, that comes out to be right. So I'm going to get, and you don't have to do it this way, I'm just going to change 1 into the square root of 2 over 2. And that's going to be a square root. And then that's going to be square root of 2 minus 1 over the square root of 2. Square root of 2 minus 1 over the square root of 2. And the square root of all that, that's not really going to help very much. Probably go through and rationalize the denominator. You can do that. I'm gonna circle this, but I'm also going to take the square root of 2. I'm going to just go out here and say the square root of 2, square root of 2. That's going to give me 2 minus the square root of 2 over 2. Yeah. So you can play with this. Yeah, the answer is going to be something like the square root of 2 minus the square root of 2, 2 minus the square root of 2 over 2. Yeah. I'll tell you again, these problems that I'm doing right now are not, they're not easy problems. They're problems that can be a pain. And you have to work with them over and over. I mean, you see, there's a couple of mistakes I made. I mean, you just don't go, oh, cosine 67 and then blah, 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 and then spit it out. You have to work at it on these identities. All right, here's the other question I got. Let me find it. This one might be a little bit easier for you because it's like 10.2, a lot of 10.2 stuff. All right, the first one is rewrite 2 sine of 30 times cosine of 30. Well, that's a double angle right there. So let's go to our handy dandy green cheat sheet. And we're looking for sine, cosine. Sine, cosine. There it is right there. 2 sine, cosine. So you can rewrite 2 sine 30 cosine 30 into what? Sine of 2 theta. So using the double angle, which is the sine of 2 theta, is equal to 2 sine theta cosine theta. And since that's 2 sine 30 cosine 30, all this is kind of like getting from your cheat sheet. Therefore, our answer is going to be something along the lines of what? Sine of 2 theta, which is 30, which is the sine of what? 60 degrees. Now, I'm going to let you finish it. Now, if you can't finish the sine of 60 degrees, then we need to have prayer meeting. Where's everybody gone? We had 13. Now we only got what? I think we only got let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We all, 3 people just dropped off the face of the earth. Okay, Mr. Nicholson says the internet's acting up at his work. Where'd Miss Martinez go? Or Hernandez, I'm sorry. Where'd Miss Hernandez go?
It won't let me turn on my camera.
Okay, it won't let you turn on yours. Miss Hernandez was with us.
I'm here. It's just that the camera is like gray and it won't let me click on it.
I don't know what's happening, y'all. I think the Russians have invaded. I mean, we're paying $3.20 for their OIL, so they might as well. My question is, why are we paying Russia for their OIL when we got our own OIL? Can anybody answer that for me? Shut up, Hubert. Shut up.
I think the government doesn't know what the hell they're doing right now.
Oh, they know. They know exactly what they're doing. They're fortifying their families for the next 20, 30 years with money from China and Russia.
Makes no
All
sense.
right. So I get the square root of 3/2. What'd y'all get?
The same thing.
And that's your answer. All right, let's do a nerd. Now this one, you're probably going to choke on it because it's going to be so much that you don't want to look at it. 2 tangent of 15 degrees over 1 minus tangent squared of 15 degrees. All right, I want you to match it up. These are just drills to get you to match up the identities. So I'm going to pull down my handy dandy cheat sheet. I already see it. I got some ice cream. I got some ice cream. Any Eddie Murphy fans out there? No.
Yeah,
Eddie
I like
Murphy is like, oh
Eddie.
God, Eddie Murphy is hilarious. I like Chris Rock, and I don't care too much for that Hart fellow. I mean, I guess he's funny, but I like Chris Rock. I love have you ever seen Chris Rock's video, how not to get your ass whooped by the police? That is
Yes.
the most hilarious video I think I have ever watched. I peed almost watching that video, laughing so hard. Especially when they beat the crap out of the people that are in the car. That's hilarious. But
You
anyway,
you like
Eddie Murphy
Dave
was
Chappelle?
funny. What?
You say you like Dave Chappelle?
I like Dave Chappelle. I like Dave Chappelle more than all of them.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle, he's kind of on the edge. He makes a lot of people mad.
I think he's got a new thing on Netflix.
Say again?
I think he's got a new thing on Netflix.
Yep, I think he does.
I haven't watched it yet.
But I love Chris Rock.
I like Dave Chappelle, Richard Pryor,
Oh God, yeah.
Bill Burr.
I'm thinking about that video and I'm laughing. I mean, how not to get your butt whooped by the police. Oh God, I'm just thinking of that one. All right, so here we go. It looks like, let's put our little cloud over here. Oh well, let me write it down first. Looks like dot dot dot, and tangent of 2 theta is equal to 2 tan theta over 1 minus tan squared theta. So there is your divine intervention. So therefore, theta is equal to what?
15.
So we take that theta and we plug it into there, and we get tan of what? Tan of 30 degrees. Now, you can do it this way, or you can do the whole thing out and do 2 tan. Let's see, what is the tan of 15 degrees? 2 minus the square root of 3? I think it's 2 minus the square root of 3. And plug that in here and here. So you would get 2 times 2 minus the square root of 3 over 1 minus 2 square root of 3 squared. Because of that square right there. Okay? And I'm trying to think. That's going to be 2. I'm thinking of the conjugate down here. That's a mess. Because this is going to be 4 plus or minus 3. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do this. Because this is going to be a mess.
Yeah, my brain hurts.
My brain hurts. Well, I'm sorry. I'm thinking a minute, because you're talking a page of work here. And it's not, I mean, I'm just wanting you to, I mean, that right there, if you do the tangent of 30 degrees, the tangent of 30 degrees is what? 1 square root of 3, 2, right?
Isn't it
So
square root of
tangent-
3 over 3?
What?
Isn't it square root of 3 over 3?
Well, it should be. Oscar had a hunk of apple, yes. Square root of 3 over 1. No, 1 over the square root of 3, which would be the square root of 3 over 3. But you got to get this, the way they're doing this one, it's a mess. Because they're not even doing it, it's all down here. See, this comes out to be 4 times 3, but it's got to be 4 plus or minus 3 because of the radical. Basically, you get that's 2 minus 3, sorry. There. I forgot about that. That's a minus. Okay, so that's going to be 2. Let me go to the next page. 2 times 2 minus square root of 3 over 1 plus parentheses 2 minus square root of 3 squared. So 2 squared, sorry, this is going to be 2 minus 3 and 2 minus 3. Why don't they just do the quadratic? Let me see what happens. They're not doing the quadratic because they've got, I'm looking at their answer, and they're doing something funky. 2 minus square root of 3 over 1 plus brackets 4 minus 2 times 2 is 4 square root of 3 minus 3. Now, why didn't they just do that? And then 4 minus 3 is 1. Wait a minute. That should be plus 3, sorry. 7, so that would be 2 minus square root of 3 over 1, and then 4 plus 3 is 7 minus 4 square root of 3. And that 1 is plus that. 1 plus 7 is 8. But I don't know if you even want to fool with that. Or is that supposed to be a minus? That's supposed to be a minus. Minus. One minus 7 is 6. Negative 6. We could put this, distribute this here, and that would be a negative 7 plus this. So that would be 2 minus square root of 3 over, what's 1 minus 7? Negative 6 plus 4 square root of 3. You could factor out a 2 right here. So we've got 2 times 2 minus square root of 3 over 2 negative 3 plus 2 square root of 3. And that 2 factors out. And that leaves 2 minus square root of 3 over 2 square root of 3 minus 3. Now we're going to use the conjugate. I'm going to rewrite this. 2 minus the square root of 3 over 2 square root of 3 minus 3. And I'm going to multiply by the conjugate. And that's going to give me 2 square root of 3 plus 3. 2 square root of 3 plus 3. And that's going to give me on the bottom here, 4 times 3 is 12. Minus, should be minus 9. And 12 minus 9 is what? 3? And up here, you're going to get 2 minus square root of 3 times 2 square root of 3 plus 3. F, that'd be 4 square root of 3. Outside, 2 times 3 is 6. Inside, 2 to be a negative 2. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3. And then the last is negative 3 square root of 3 over 3. And what happens to the 6's? And what is 4 square root of 3 minus 3 square root of 3? Or you could have just done that. I'm just showing you. Don't kill the messenger. Oh, that hurt my brain. Next one. But I am showing you, the reason I'm showing you these is because what happens when y'all see them is y'all look at them and you go, I don't know what to do. Well, you got to get over that. The next one is.
Here, I've got to get to my next
Is
class.
class already over?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry about that. I didn't mean to go over.
No,
I don't
you're
even know what
fine.
time it is. Let me go ahead and call the roll. I don't think half of y'all are here today, but let me go ahead and call the roll. I have to get into it, so hold on a minute. Probably not going to let me in. I got to give a confirmation number.
Priority 1 message coming.
140002. Okay, Math 111. And of course, just we'll keep working on everything. All right, let me see who's here and who's not here. Nicholson was here. So Baker and Bradley, y'all can leave. Just work on homework. Christy is here. Where's Christy? I ain't heard from Christy all day. But he's here. I don't see him. Mr. Christie, are you here? Must be sick. Broxton is here. Davis is here. Hernandez is here. Nicholson was here. Pappas is here, and Ramey is here. Shirley, Thornton, and Williams, and Wood. Shirley, Thornton, Williams, and Wood. Okay, anybody got any questions? Hang around. Rest of y'all keep working, and I'll see y'all Tuesday.
All right.
See you.
Have a good weekend.
You too.